Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing a book by James Patterson and Candice Fox. It's called Two Sisters Detective Agency. I don't know if this is the first book in a series. I've got a feeling it's trying to be. I don't think it'd be a series I would read another book of if it was. It didn't live up to what the blurb was saying. So from the blurb, I thought that it was going to be a really exciting read. Two sisters discover they're related for the first time. Soon after that, they have dangerous people after them, so dangerous men after them for some reason. And it does tell you why in the book. You know, you think it'd be exciting and thrilling. It's not. I got the impression that the authors were trying to create something almost like the Stephanie Plum series written by Janet Evanovich. You know, that kind of irreverent feel to it, where there are a lot of things that happen in the book that don't make sense, that are just there to be lighthearted and fun, and they don't really make sense for the characters, make sense for the situation, and don't feel real. That's what the Stephanie Plum series is, and I felt like they were trying to make this the same for some of it. There are other elements, other storylines in this book that are different, but they also bring in things that don't feel real at all and characters that are just not lifelike. So it doesn't live up to its expectations, in my opinion, and for a lot of it, it doesn't feel real. Rhonda Byrd is a lawyer. I think she's in her 30s in this book. She discovers her father's dead, gets a phone call out of the blue. Her father, who she hasn't seen for years, since she was a teenager, I think, has died. And the attorney that's called her has said, you have to come up to where your father lived because there's more news and I can't tell you over the phone. So off she jets to get that news, and when she arrives, she finds out that she's got a sister who's 15, and her father, her dead father, has made her the guardian of this teenager. So Rhonda, who's not a mother, never thought about being a mother, has suddenly found herself being a guardian of a teenager. And quite an unruly teenager. This teenager doesn't want to be someone's daughter. She wants to be independent, and her father has been letting her jet off to different countries because she's an influencer on Instagram. And she's been jetting off to different countries, to different festivals, different parties, has all these followers, and she wants to continue doing that. But Rhonda will have none of that. Rhonda's going to keep her grounded and basically try to keep her in the country and close to home. Rhonda also discovers that her dead father was very wealthy, had a huge house. And where did that money come from? Because she always knew that her father was a deadbeat, with not much to his name at all. And suddenly he's rich. So she's suspicious. And when she does some digging, she finds out that all this money came from crime. But she also finds out that her dead father had a PI business. And it's that PI business that links in the other storyline in the book. So in this other storyline in the book, we have a group of teenagers, and they're very rich teenagers. And they've formed a club. And in this club, they just pick people kind of at random who have offended them in some way, and they invade their houses and they terrorize them, and they get their kicks out of that. And it seems to be escalating a bit. And the leader of this teenage group, called Vera, she's quite dangerous and always psychotic, and she wants to escalate it very dangerously. She takes a gun eventually to one of the houses, and one of the people of the houses they invade gets shot. So that kind of escalates in this storyline. But also in this storyline, at the very start, they invade someone's house, a family's house, and the father of this family, he was a killer for hire in his prior life. So he's going to take revenge in his own hands, and he's going to hunt them down, and he ends up hunting these teenagers down one by one and deals with them in his own way. So that's the other storyline in this book. And they merge because one of the teenagers from this group goes to this detective agency looking for the dead father. Rhonda gets the impression that he's in trouble, even though he tries to cover up and make out that he was just having fun, playing a game. She doesn't believe him, and she starts trying to investigate what's going on, and they merge a bit, these storylines. But unfortunately, both storylines have huge elements that just don't seem real. The storyline of the father going for revenge felt almost like, an old Charles Bronson movie. But it does feel a little bit more real than the storyline about Rhonda and her sister, and her sister's name is Baby. Two storylines not seeming very real at all. One storyline slightly more real than the other. Doesn't make for a really good book. And the book's not that thrilling, that suspenseful, because it also comes across as almost comical and irreverent. Even with the bad guys coming after them, they just seem like just so disorganized and inept at what they're doing. They're just terrible villains, really. And I just found that element was almost written, I don't know if it was written that way purposefully, but it just felt like it needed to be redone. And some of the book just feels like the whole book in a way needs to be redone, in my opinion, because there are just too many things that don't feel real. And I just didn't get a good feel about this book at all, for the most part. Rhonda Byrne, our main character, the way she dresses and acts, especially in the courtroom, being a lawyer, doesn't seem real at all. She dresses in band t-shirts and jeans and with crazy hair, and it's meant to be acceptable in a courtroom. I don't think it would be. That's the first thing that doesn't feel real about this character. Also, just the way she acts in life in general doesn't feel real for the character. And you know what, it felt like this character was almost based on, a character from like an 80s comedy movie set in a college. There's characters that go and do crazy stunts and crazy pranks on people. It felt like that kind of character in this book. And you could insert her into one of those movies and she wouldn't stick out, she'd fit right in. It didn't gel with me, this character. I didn't really enjoy it that much. It didn't feel lifelike at all. And I couldn't relate the character to being a lawyer at all. The only thing about this character that I thought was okay was the way she kind of cared for the sister Baby and tried to mother her in a slight way that seemed real, but nothing else about the character does. Baby, who's the 15-year-old sister, the authors did a good job of giving us the petulant teen character. You really get that in this character, so it was good in that way. That's the only good thing about it. The whole influencer thing, I guess, is okay. A lot of teens want to be influencers, but everything else about the character doesn't seem real at all and just seems contrived for this story. And it's, again, just one of those characters that seem to be created to make this irreverent feel in the story, and I didn't appreciate it really. This doesn't gel with what I wanted in this book. It's meant to be a thriller and suspenseful. This character almost is like comic relief, and I didn't expect a character like this in the novel. Vera is the leader of the gang of rich teens that are terrorizing homes. Again, a character that's just not lifelike. This rich teenage girl who's going around, with guns and wanting to shoot people, and there's a big fight scene between Vera and another character. And in that fight scene, Vera overpowers that character, and that just doesn't seem real at all. And just the way the fight happens and how good she is with firearms and all the other stuff that happens with this character, it's just not lifelike, not believable. I don't know why the authors wrote this book in this way and these characters in this way. I'm not sure if they wanted the characters to all feel like this, but they just don't work, and they don't seem consistent with the type of characters they're trying to create. So the actions don't gel with the look and feel of the characters. The only good storyline in this book was the father out for revenge. Parts of that didn't seem believable, just some parts. The parts where he was going out for revenge and taking those actions did seem believable for that character. Because of that storyline, I rate this a 2 out of 5. If the book didn't have that storyline in it, I don't know that I'd rate this book higher, probably lower. I was disappointed because the blurb made this out to be much better than the book actually was. And it's one of those James Patterson co-authored books that isn't a good read. I've read a few of them recently that are really good reads. This one isn't. On my channel, I do review a lot of James Patterson books. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. Also, check out the thriller playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.